Hi, I'm Steve Mera, and some time back I did a video with my good friend and colleague Alexis Brooks of Higher Journeys YouTube channel in regarding the strange drone activity that was taking place in the US, in New Jersey particularly. But it did take place in other places around the world, including the UK. We had a few issues going on in our skies here as well at the same time, which was very odd. These incidents kind of started taking place around about November 2024 and led through to about March 2025. But there was a lot of information, a lot of stir, lots of thousands of videos that appeared on the internet about this. Clearly, there was something up in the skies. Now, I did a video with Alexis on her channel called UAP and Beyond, which was our first episode, where we covered this information. I'll put a link actually in our description under this video if you can't already find the sneak peek version on my own YouTube channel. However, I'll also put the link to the full version, which is over on Alexis's YouTube channel, which is Higher Journeys. Now, in the second part, we dig a little bit deeper and we look into some of the lies, the secrets, and regarding UAP technologies. We're going to be covering how the Pentagon have been dealing with this issue and numerous information that's come out from UAP hearings and things like that. So please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and hit the bell notification for further notifications of when videos are going to be coming out. I'll let you know about that. And also head over to see the full version of this particular video on Alexis's YouTube channel, which is Higher Journeys. But again, I will be putting all the links available under this video. So please, I hope you enjoy this, and we will be back to you very soon. Thank you.
And we have to ask one of these really important questions, because I was hit by hundreds of people asking that question. Are they ours, or are they them, the others, the phenomenon? And that's become a real challenging. I mean, normally it's not so challenging because you can kind of work out, well, yes, this constitutes the phenomena, but how this has been represented by the government, how it's been presented, controlled, ignored by the governments, not just the US, the UK, and many others, is problematic, because we have to consider, if there is a foreign agent in the sky who have these drones, an adversary, an example, why are they being ignored? If somehow some secret organization within the establishment or the government were aware that there was going to be a global presence in our skies of this UFO or UAP phenomenon, then the best way to probably deal with that, and without alerting the general public too much or worrying them, would be to put their own up there as well. And they basically say, because these things are full of lights, they're like, hey, look at me. They're not covert,
They're
because they
trying to
wouldn't
be
have
seen. Yeah, they're trying to
yeah,
be seen.
they want to be seen.
Yeah.
So they put theirs up in the sky as well. It's called absurdity process. And it causes real problems, because people really don't know. Well, now what we're looking at something that looks like the UAP phenomenon, the UFO phenomena, and something that doesn't. It looks like something else, structured crafts. And then they generally tell the whole public, ignore them, don't worry about them, and there's no defense significance. The first thing the general public are going to turn around and think immediately, very cleverly, is, well, they must be the US owned military exotic aircraft, secret test, whatever, just like the UK would. That diffuses the fact that the real phenomenon is present in the sky as well. It takes the whole blame away very secretly. In other words, it's not just UAP in the sky. They throw them up there as well to diffuse the situation in the psyops, so that people just kind of go, well, do you know what? It's got to be ours, and let's not do more about it. And this could be happening as we actually are seeing these events happen around the world. It's interesting when we talk about whistleblowers, because we had whistleblowers in the 1950s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. But the problem is that the only way they could get their word out was through late night radio shows, coast to coast. Helped out a lot with that, and putting information out in little tiny bits and bobs, little interviews. People sat in the shadows, blanked out faces, that sort of thing. We've had that in the troves for many, many years. This has been going on. However, now they have an official platform, because now what we're saying is whistleblowers people are being involved in these sensitive programs and know some incredible information can now come forward. Now they have a platform and a safety net. They are going to come in their troves. Absolutely. This is what they've been waiting for, to be able to say what they want, because you know what? Humans, we're all the same. We're not very good at keeping secrets. Secrets are just not good. We're not good at that. You know, we just have to tell somebody, don't we? And then we tell them, don't tell anybody, you know. So what the thing is, it's natural human nature to want to share information. And there's the stress that they're under all these years and not being able to talk about this. There are going to be droves of people coming forward, more whistleblowers. Should we be concerned? That's one of the big questions. And if not, why? That's the big question. Why aren't we? Because that we have to point our finger as to what are the things that are flying around then? What are the things that the Nimitz and the carrier group have been witnessing for many years, the fighter pilots? And it goes back even further than that. You know, so it can't simply brush this away under the carpet. It has to be addressed, and it's good to be addressed by people in action. And he's certainly in action. Will he obtain information? The problem is with critical information, as we've heard throughout the UAP hearings in the US, is when things start to just get very, very juicy, and you're on the edge of getting some real good information, it goes beyond into closed door conversations.
Or stiffs.
Yeah, skiffs, and it gets rubber stamped with national security. And the thing is that, well, they might know, but we need to know. The general public need to know. So it's like, is it another roundabout we've got to go around in an attempt to try and find out? And then are we going to go to those people next and say, well, you've been told you need to share this if the government aren't going to share it? It's real problematic as to what is so sensitive. You are right, Alexis. You know, if they're our foreign adversary, why are they lighting up like a Christmas tree? They wouldn't. All they got to do is switch lights off. We'd never know they're really there, to be honest. You know, and the fact is that some of the light phenomena on these things, you know, from 700 to 7,000 watts of just flaring up. People ask me, how can we ever know now in the 21st century what is ours and what is theirs? And the biggest thing I used to say was, well, do you know, the phenomena seems to act slightly differently. It morphs, it shapes, it splits, it comes back together, it materializes, it dematerializes, has a conscious connection. Does our craft do that? The specialized technology that we have? We don't know. Maybe that's the only way to to separate these two things, because visually it's next to impossible.
Even as exotic as some of these things seemed, that a lot of it was still our own man-made tech. And this is a point that you emphasized in our last show that we did together.
It is, yeah. I mean, it's a very interesting interview that he talked about. I've had the opportunity to work as a contractor myself for NATO. And during my time, there were some sensitive things I was involved in. But it is interesting that, you know, that you can have access to sensitive material. And these contractors may be involved in collection of some items which might be unusual in nature. It doesn't necessarily mean it's the phenomena that we're dealing with, but I do have to say what's intriguing is that this particular object he claimed to have seen and maneuvered to another location was egg-shaped. And yeah, egg-shaped crafts have been reported since the 1920s. You know, there are many reports in MUFON files and many other files where people have seen egg-shaped craft, and even a landed one, for an example. So it's not unusual to see something of that nature. However, you know, we might say, well, structurally, you know, an egg is very good in regarding pressure and construction, for the construction, the shape of it. And it's also aerodynamic to some degree. However, you know, is it something which we might have created, or is it something that is the phenomena? I believe if we were dealing with the phenomena here, that phenomena would have been crowded by military personnel straight away. There would have been military choppers there, Chinooks, to relocate these things. We've seen this time and time again in reports in earlier incidents, you know, of the UFO phenomena going to ground. So with it being loosely security. The security is pretty loosely around this, and a contractor to be able to pretty much have some involvement in this leads me to believe that it might actually be more our tech.
He said that.
Yeah, and I totally agree with him. That is, of course, and it is because when this first came out a couple of weeks ago, I did a very interesting thing. I put it out to the world. I said, "Look, guys, what do you think? I would like to hear what your opinions are." And I kind of did a little bit of a statistical survey on what people thought after seeing this. Most of which, people are not. They are. We've got some very clever people out there, and they are not falling for everything anymore. They are very, very cautious now because they're aware that there are psyops. They're aware that people will mislead the general public to gain their own, for their own reasons, publicity, whatever. And also, there's also disinformation out there across the internet as well. So they are aware, they are wising up. And I'm so pleased to see that so many are just not grabbing at this and saying straight away, there's your evidence. But it is very, very interesting then, though. So anti-gravity is kind of a bit of the old story now. Okay, we must have it. It's been withheld and it's been utilized by by the governments. However, it's not in the public domain as yet. However, though, when we start talking about the transmedium capabilities of these craft, well, I got into this early on, and I thought, do you know what? Why are they missing one out? And I will get to this. I went in there and I started asking questions at the high end, and saying, "Where's the quad? Where's the fourth medium capability?" I'm aware of it. Some of the other researchers around the world are aware of it. This is when you have the phenomena going through solid material, going into volcanoes, into mountains, into the ground, passing through things. They are metaphysical sometimes in nature. So if that is the case, that is a transmedium travel. It's a form of transmediability. So where is it? Why we only got three? And I was told at the top end, we can't tell people about the fourth one yet, because this was at a time when a lot of scientists were offering to come on, give support. And that was a really good thing for the very first time. We got scientists wanting to come forward. But we didn't want to throw this on the laps because it's a big pill to swallow about the physics that's involved when a craft can simply go straight into the mountainside. And this is what the phenomena seemingly represents. So it's quad medium travel, really. There are things still yet to come. And it's going to be very interesting because when we start to getting into the real true statistics of the phenomena, and Elizondo's putting little clues out there now to say, it's much more involved than what we thought. And he's absolutely right. And many people do know that now at the top end. If anybody, who's watching our show, just Googles Delhi sculpture eggs, you'll find them on top of theatres and buildings. And these are about the same size. They are white sculptured eggs. And of course, these things have to be removed. They're on top of buildings. So how did they get there? Well, maybe they are lifted to these particular buildings. So, I'm starting to look at all different areas. You've got to do that. There are also people which do have, because I've had them myself, I've had euphoric experiences, and I can't explain them. But then on the other side of the coin, I've had those that, wow, I wouldn't want to have that experience again. So, it swings and roundabouts. There's two tails of this, you see. So, but I do believe that people can have these experiences and can have some type of spiritual awakening. We hear about it all over the world. Spiritual awakenings, because the initiation process, the initiation by reaction from phenomena. There's biblical stories about this in the Vatican archives, in the Bibles, about spiritual awakening. And all of a sudden, it might be under the head in a religious connotation, but it is a spiritual awakening from having some type of encounter, experience, even thousands of years ago. It's still going on today. And I'm sure that it will be impacting for anybody to have some type of profound experience like that. In regarding the drones, well, you are right. We are caught down in the middle. There is this great confusing area. I've witnessed the drones myself. I've filmed the drones myself. And I don't know what they are. I've no explanation for them. But I cannot get away from, and I said this to you, didn't I, that from witnessing UFOs from a child, there's a certain feeling that comes with it. And you will know what I mean about this, won't you? You know, there is a certain feeling. When you look into the sky and you see something which is quite unusual, and you've just got nothing, no connection, no feeling, nothing. It's flat inside. You feel it's got to be something which is our technology. You know, because there are times when you feel the experience and you kind of know, yeah, that's something unusual. You know, for me, that's a big giveaway. And I trust that some people out there may have those type of experiences and know, not just in your eyes and ears, but know from within. Know that feeling. It's like the taste of a lemon. You never forget it. You know, and you think, yes, it's that returning sensation that I can guarantee that, yes, this is something unusual, a profound experience. That radiation was a significant issue in regarding these sightings. And there's actually government reports and documents about procedures how to deal in regarding the UAP or UFO phenomena and its associated radiation. So if the people go to that great length to provide government documents to officials secretively in specialized meetings about how to deal with the UFO phenomena and the problem of radiation or biological chemical hazards, then there's definitely got to be something to it.
Absolutely. Well, look, this has been quite a premiere episode of UAP and Beyond. Everyone, I hope you've enjoyed it. We should have said this at the very top of the episode because this is no small thing. We must hear from you. As a matter of fact, Steve, here's an idea. I want to put it out to the audience at the same time. I'd love to hear, like literally hear from people. And even though we are recording these episodes, we may do some live streams on occasion. But for the foreseeable future, we're going to do recordings. But we may set something up, guys, where you can actually leave us a voicemail and where we can, with your question or your comment, it's not just about your question because we don't have all the answers. You may have some insights that we don't. So we're stand by on that. We're going to try to figure out a way, Steve, to set that up so people can leave their direct messages that we can play on the show.
Absolutely.
Because there's a lot. We all have to have this conversation. Everybody.
Yeah, there'll be so many people out there that will see various different things in regarding this talk that we've had, and that'll be that they've had personal experiences, might want to share them because it's always good to share experience because this is how we learn, this is how we advance the subject and move forward. Also, there will be people out there that maybe are seeing drones still, believe it or not, but they are still being seen. You know, we'd love to hear from people that are seeing these things because the variety is tremendous. You know, and it's absolutely fascinating because it's so in your face at the moment, it cannot be ignored. So yeah,
absolutely
critical to gather as much information as we can. We'd love to hear from people.
Yeah. If you saw the trailer, I'll never forget. I said, this is your conversation too. And we really mean that. Matter of fact, speaking of the drones, particularly if you've had your own sighting of drones in the recent past weeks or a month or so, have you had any physiological, anything, even psychological, emotional reactions? That I haven't heard yet, but I wouldn't be a bit surprised, Steve, if there's somebody out there that might be able to share something like that. That might, we're on a fact finding mission, so
Certainly,
yeah,
I agree. So yeah, there's certainly some people that might have those experiences because I do
yeah.
believe that if you were to ask my opinion, we're not only seeing some of our stuff up there, but we're also seeing the phenomena, and that can interact with us. So, I do believe people may have some of those experiences to talk about.
Got a lot to talk about. 2025 is going to be a heck of a year when it comes to this and other things.
We're thrown straight on the back end of December's invasion, throughout the sky, straight into January of 2025 and the return of these things, which are seemingly returning to locations. Still no answers, but isn't it going to be a very interesting year? The most interesting is the fact that people are getting fed up. They want the answers. They want to know what's going on. And we've just got to keep pressing until we start to get those answers.
And that's one of the reasons why we're here, guys. Listen, we are gonna go to the Patreon after show. Were you thinking about that? We're gonna do that. We don't know if we're gonna do this all the way through to for every episode of UAP and Beyond. This is, by the way, something that we're showing up on Higher Journeys with Alexis Brooks. We will come back next week with a regular episode of Higher Journeys, but we'll be doing this. We'll see how the information flows and goes, and we will show up when we got more to share. And I have a feeling it may be sooner than we had planned. But for this episode, we are going to do an after show. Here's what we're going to talk about, Steve. You and I chatted about this offline. Let's get a little bit more into the psionics as it relates to CE5. Steve, my wonderful co-host, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you. Enjoyed it.
It's been great. All right, guys, we're out for now. We're going to go next door. You know how it works. We're going to go next door. Let's talk about psionics and CE5. All right. Thanks, everyone. We will see you soon.
I want to thank you for watching this video, and if you want to see the full version, because this is just a sneak peek, then please head over to Alexis Brooks Higher Journeys YouTube channel, where you'll see the full video version of this interview. Also, if you get a chance, please do subscribe, share, like, give it a thumbs up, and hit the notification icons, not just on my channel but also Alexis' channel as well, Higher Journeys, because she does some fascinating videos. I want to thank you again for watching, and we'll be back to you very soon.